Hello my friends, my name is Daisy Daniel. I'm a personal resilience life coach coming to you every Monday and Thursday at 12 p.m. on Facebook Live to go over and do an impromptu read and reflection from the book, The Language of Letting Go. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. It's a beautiful day here in Florida. The wind is blowing, the sun is out. People are coming to the park to walk around and just breathe in fresh air, get their vitamin C, vitamin D actually, from the sun, and just enjoy God's creation and nature out here. It's beautiful. So I hope that you get out today, get some sun as well. And today we are going to, I know the title of it, it's called Perfection. We are going to read that now. For those of you that aren't familiar with what I'm doing with this is meant to be a time of just a casual place where you could come, be safe, hang out, and learn something to help you with your personal development. If 85% of families are dysfunctional, that means you have a really good chance of being in a dysfunctional family. If you don't, you are blessed, and use the knowledge you have and the experience you've had of growing up in a healthy, functional family to help others. But we know that codependency is at the root of a lot of problems in our relationships, in our lives. And this whole book, The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beattie, is about codependency. And anyone could be a codependent, men, women. You could be in relationships for years where you're codependent, and it just perpetuates the dysfunction. And so I want you to know that this is a safe place. You don't have to comment, you don't have to do anything. Just come and chill. You could hear it later on the replay if you want to comment. I would love to continue the dialogue, but you don't have to. This is just a safe place to learn and grow and hopefully apply these principles to your life. Some of these principles aren't easy, and we could be in denial about not having these issues, but I just want to encourage you to be open to the possibilities that you might have some of these issues in your own life. And you know, if you fix yourself, you have a greater chance of fixing the relationships around you, with your nuclear family, your extended family, your friends, your co-workers. So that is my goal with doing this. I do it at 12 o'clock p.m. because I just want to have lunch with you. I just want to have that break with you. I was a homeschool mom for many years, and I seldom did anything for me. It all revolved around the children, and that's great because I love my children, but guess what? If you neglect yourself, they're going to suffer as well. You need to take care of yourself. And so I wanted to do it at 12 o'clock for those homeschool moms that are out there doing an amazing job to take a break and just work on your own personal development as well. All right, so we are going to get started. Perfection. We are on page 126 from the book, The Language of Letting Go. For those of you that are interested in the book, I have a link in the bio where you could get it. Here we go. Many of us picked on ourselves unmercifully before recovery. We may also have a tendency to pick on ourselves after we begin recovery. If I was really recovering, I wouldn't be doing that again. I should be further along than I am. These are statements that we indulge in when we're feeling shame. We don't need to treat ourselves that way. There is no benefit. Remember, shame blocks us, but self-love and acceptance enable us to grow and change. If we truly have done something we feel guilty about, we can correct it with an amend and an attitude of self-acceptance and love. Even if we slip back to our old codependent ways of thinking, feeling, and behaving, we do not need to be ashamed. I'm going to put a little note here of something I just thought of. We all regress from time to time. That's how we learn and grow. Relapse or recycling is an important and necessary part of recovery. And the way out of recycling is not by shaming ourselves. That leads us deeper into codependency. Much pain comes from trying to be perfect. Perfection is impossible unless we think of it in a new way. Perfection is being who and where we are today. Perfection is being who and where we are today. It's accepting and loving ourselves just as we are. We are each where we need to be in our recovery. All right, now here's her little prayer that she prays. Today I will love and accept myself for who I am and where I am in my recovery process. I am right where I need to be to get to where I'm going. Just making a little note here of something I thought of. All right. Are you a type A personality? Are you a perfectionist? I know I've been a perfectionist my whole life, I think. I remember as a child writing my letters to Santa and tearing them up after I spent an hour writing everything, which was going to my dad, which I didn't know. My mom and dad were divorced and my dad would get everything on the list. But I thought it was Santa, and I was such a perfectionist that I wanted the letters to be perfect. Each letter of the alphabet had to be perfect, and I would rip the pages up over and over, and it was never good enough for Santa. I wish I hadn't wasted all that time. Now that I know the truth about Santa. Funny story, I didn't tell my dad. I never told my dad that I stopped believing in Santa because I wanted to make sure I got those gifts. So from the age of 5, I stopped believing in Santa, but he thought I believed in Santa till I was 10. True story. All right, let's go back and look at some of the details here regarding perfection. Many of us picked on ourselves unmercifully before recovery. We may also have a tendency to pick on ourselves after we begin recovery. All right, picking on yourself. Not being pleased with your progress, not being pleased with where you are and how far you have come, but always thinking that you should be further along. That's one of the things she mentions. I know I have thought that in the past. I have thought, man, I should be further along in my grief. I should be further along in this or that. But everybody's recovery is different. And if we are not kind to ourselves through the recovery process, we're going to take longer to recover. We need to show ourselves grace. She goes on to say, she used some phrases. If I was really recovering, I wouldn't be doing that again. All right, there are some people, especially in the Christian faith, that believe that maybe it's a lack of faith on your part, maybe it's a lack of prayer, maybe whatever they think, they believe more in a quick fix. God is all-powerful. He could change you like that overnight, which is true. God could do anything. He is all-powerful and he could do anything. But recovery and how God chooses to heal you and the length of time that it takes you to heal, with God's help, of course. That's, the Having a higher power is the foundation in the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous and all these recovery programs that have sprung from the original 12-step Alcoholic Anonymous program. You need that higher power to help you, but the time it takes, don't let anyone make you feel bad because of the amount of time it's taking. A lot of times they do it for their own convenience. You know, whether they don't want to, whether, you know, you still recovering is a bother to them, it's something they don't want to deal with. They want you to just get over it, you know, just heal, you know, go on with your life, so that then they could think about other things. And what you need to do with people like that is release them. They don't need to be part of your healing process. Just release them. There's no pressure for them to come alongside of you. Yeah, you might feel alone, you might feel abandoned, but guess what? God does not abandon you. He's there in your recovery process. And however long it takes you, that's how long it takes you. God could do anything. And if He wants to totally do an overhaul of your mind, He could do that. But if He hasn't chosen to do that, and it's taking you longer, you need to show yourself grace. Remember, shame blocks us. Oh, that's so good. When we feel shame, you know, because we're perfectionists, we think we should be further along. We think we should have accomplished X, Y, and Z by now. That shame comes in. It blocks us from really fulfilling God's purpose in our life. We can't move forward. We kind of get frozen. You know, we freeze. We get numb. We don't know what to do. And it's all from shame. But self-love and acceptance enable us to grow and change. Self-love and acceptance. Even when you mess up, say, you know what, Daisy, I still love you. You messed up again. You know, I still love you. God still loves you. Thank God that He doesn't give up on us. You know, people will give up on us very easily. They will dispose of you like a piece of trash, but God doesn't do that. He continues to be by your side and helping you grow from everlasting to everlasting, in knowledge, in wisdom, getting stronger every day. And He doesn't leave you. He doesn't leave you to do it on your own. That's the beauty of having a relationship with God. Even if we slip back to our old codependent ways of thinking, feeling, and behaving, we do not need to be ashamed. I think shame causes so many problems. Even with people in recovery, they're embarrassed to talk about their weaknesses. They're embarrassed to talk about their dysfunctional past, their dysfunctional family. They're just plain embarrassed, and you have to get over that if you're going to heal. You have to get over that and not punish yourself. And start growing. Start growing where you are now, however long it takes. It says, we all regress from time to time. That's how we learn and grow. It's called making mistakes, folks. And if you have people in your life that can't stand it when you make mistakes, they get frustrated. They think you don't have enough faith in God. They think you don't love God. They think that only you and God could heal. They don't believe in any outside source helping you at all. Just know, God says there is healing in a multitude, safety in a multitude of counselors. That's in the Bible. He would not say that. And He didn't just say there is safety in one counselor. He said there is safety in a multitude of counselors. Life coaches, therapists, mentors, family members that really care about you, friends that are devoted to you. There is safety when you confide in a multitude of counselors that really have your back, that really care. And I want you to know that the people you least expect sometimes are the ones that come alongside of you and start caring about you. And the people you expect to be there aren't always there. And that's okay. And you have to realize that, acknowledge that, and move on. And not feel guilty about it, and not feel bad about it. Otherwise, you'll never heal. And guess what? When you stand before God at the end of your life, He's going to give account. You have to give account for your life. Your mom's not going to be there. Your dad's not going to be there. Your husband, your wife's not going to be there. It's just going to be you and God. And He's going to ask you questions, and you're going to give account for what you've done and haven't done. Sins of omission, sins of commission, right? Because doing nothing is also a sin. So remember that. Remember that. Then she goes on to say, it is important and a necessary, relapse and recycling is an important and necessary part of recovery. Why? Because you learn from your mistakes. And the way out of recycling is not by shaming ourselves. That leads us deeper into codependency. And I know that I, in the past, have been very negative to myself, and I'm learning to love myself and not put myself down when I make mistakes, not compare myself to other life coaches. You know, there's no other me. There's no other person that could bring the message that I'm bringing, the way I bring it. It's just like you. There's no other person like you that could have the personality that you have, that could have the vision that you have, that could have the motivation and the determination that you have. And even if you goof up, even if you don't look perfect, even if you make mistakes, it's okay. People get you. People know what you're trying to say. And that is why I could look at my videos and not really give it a lot of importance. These videos are unedited, so I don't go back and edit a thing in these Facebook Lives. It is what it is. If I make a mistake, I make a mistake. I own up to it, and I move forward. And, you know, in your business, you have to be that way as well. You can't be affected by every little thing you see on social media, every little thing that people tell you. You have to know what God wants you to do and get out there and do it. And be confident that God has your back. And as long as He has your back, you're good. And praise the Lord for everyone else He brings along your side to support you and be there for you. That's a beautiful thing. And I pray that happens for you in your business and in your family. Then she says, much pain comes from trying to be perfect. Wow, is that ever true? Much pain. And we do it to ourselves, folks. No one is doing it to us. We are setting those high expectations for ourselves. I remember as a homeschool mom, you know, when you homeschool, you really don't have anyone looking in on your life and holding you accountable for things. So you are the teacher, and you have this tremendous pressure to make sure that your children turn out okay, right? Academically, emotionally, in all those areas. And homeschooling is not for the faint at heart. I will tell you that right now. I did it for 13 years, and after a while there, I started losing my grip. It became very difficult because there were other issues, major issues going on, and I wasn't as effective as I could have been. But I do know that from the get-go, I had very high expectations, not just for my children, but for myself. And there was no one, looking in on me. And I thought, I have to do this, you know. And that's one thing I do regret. I think I was too harsh. The schedule they had was too strict, just too much. It was just too much. And it's because I felt they had to be perfect. I had to be perfect. You know, I represent their education. I'm in charge of all this, and it's too bad, you know, because the damage that I did, I can't undo. And hopefully they forgive me and move forward and learn from that. But we do cause damage with our perfection, not just to ourselves, but the people around us. We cause a lot of damage. So it behooves us to not do it. Then she says, perfection is impossible unless we think of it in a new way. And here's the new way that she suggests. Perfection is being who and where we are today. It's accepting and loving ourselves just as we are. That's the basis. Love yourself just as you are, and then you could move forward from there. We are each right where we need to be in our recovery. All right, and here's her prayer at the end. It says, today I will love and accept myself for who I am and where I am in my recovery process. I am right where I need to be to get to where I'm going tomorrow. And the reason she says tomorrow is because in recovery, in codependency recovery, recovering from being a perfectionist, you take one day at a time. This is true with any addiction. You take one day at a time. You ask God to help you that day. And then the next day you wake up, you thank God for helping you yesterday and thank Him for helping you today. And you just do today what you could do. And that is your best. And don't put yourself down if you don't do everything on your to-do list. Because I don't know about you, but my to-do list could be from here to, 5 feet away from here, 5 feet long, my to-do list. So many things I want to do, but it's not realistic. Hey, James. It's not realistic, and we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. And do today what you need to do for yourself to make yourself a better person. And don't put yourself down if you cannot do everything on your to-do list. I'm learning to do that. And it hasn't been easy because I think I'm all powerful and I could do everything on my to-do list. And then what happens is I neglect the more important things in life. So, all right. Thank you for joining. Hopefully you'll have time to hear the whole thing. I was talking about perfection and how much perfection could hurt us. So I'm going to open it up if there's anyone else listening that would like to chime in, say anything about perfection, any experience you might have with being a perfectionist or working with people that are perfectionists, maybe family members that are perfectionists. And there is no such thing as perfection, right? On this side of heaven anyway. So, all right, this has been a good reflection. I will be back on Thursday. The topic on Thursday is going to be intimacy. Wow. Intimacy, that's a very tough word for people who are codependents because codependents really aren't intimate. They think they are, but they're really not. And so that's going to be good. I'm tempted to read it, but I'm not going to read it. This is going to be for Thursday. I hope you all have a great day. And if you have not been on my website, please check it out. It's www.mymomentlc, that stands for lifecoaching.com. Hope you have a great day, a blessed day, and I will see you on Thursday. Bye.